And now we've reached, the most controversial Tron. In my opinion, I think it's kind of stupid that it's the most controversial Tron. But anyway, Tron Ares. I really really like this movie. If you saw my my 2025 year review, like the fine, like those videos, you know that my favorite movie of 2025 was Tron Ares. I gotta say, it still is my favorite movie of 2025. For me, it's a 10 out of 10. But that doesn't mean because it's a 10 out of 10 doesn't mean that it's, not perfect. Of course it isn't perfect. No movie is perfect except Tron Legacy. But anyway, but yeah, Tron Ares, it's good. But there was also people like I think I think there's two. My opinion, I think they're like okay. I'm gonna say how people have said it, but there's like two things people have said. Oh, why is Jared? Look, I don't like Jared Leto. I think he's a fucking weirdo, man. I think he's an actual fucking weirdo. But he's been championing to make Tron Ares. Literally, he's been wanting to make a Tron movie for 9 years. It's gonna be 10 years since he's been, championing, a Tron 3, slash Tron Ares. Plus he took money out of his own pocket to pay, I don't know how much he paid, but no, he did take money out of his pocket, to help the production of the movie, which is really, really cool of him to do. And when I heard that, I was like, yeah, this guy's actually a true Tron fan. This guy wants this movie to happen, you know? For me, I still think he's a weirdo, even though I'll say this, even though I think he's a weirdo, like I have to, I have to applaud him for bringing Tron Ares to life, for bringing Tron 3 to life. It's the movie that I've always, like, literally, Tron 3. Like, I never imagined. Literally, I was like, what else can they do, And for me, I just didn't know what else they could do. Like, I always wanted to see a sequel, but I don't know what they could have done. And I think for, like, a, uh, kinda, it's not really a full-on sequel, but a kinda sequel. I think they did a pretty good job in making a really cool Tron movie. And yeah, and also the second reason, why isn't Daft Punk returning? And this one's literally the stupidest one. This one gives me literal aneurysms. Like, dog, they retired. Why the hell would they? They're retired, man. They wouldn't come back. Well, okay, not okay. Not I don't mean in a mean way, but I'm like, are you that stupid? Are you truly that stupid? The Oh my, people! I swear, people are so dumb. And I swear, sometimes I think it's not on purpose. Honestly, yeah, it's not on purpose. There's a lot of people on the internet and I feel bad for them. But anyway, that's the stupid one. Why isn't Daft Punk returning? Because they retired, dickhead. Plus, Nine Inch Nails did a really good job for me. The Tron Ares soundtrack and the Tron Legacy soundtrack are in the same level of 10 out of 10 greatness. For me, those two soundtracks are like the best soundtracks I've ever heard in my life. Right next to, Star Wars. And and yeah, man, it's great. But yeah, the characters, people say, oh, the characters don't go too deep. Well, they kind of do. Well, specifically for one character, Eve Kim. Her whole thing is that, she's after her younger sister dies, she's the CEO of, the main CEO of Encom because they were both CEOs after Sam Flynn left. And then, she died, she passed away of cancer in the movie. Well, it's not really shown that. Yeah, it's just said that she died of cancer. But yeah, and you know, and the only reason why she's still CEO is because she wanted to complete, her sister's dream of reshaping the human condition, like Kevin Flynn, because her younger sister admired Kevin Flynn, and she was a big fan of Kevin Flynn, which is indicated in the movie. and yeah, and also Eve Kim, she's like she even, well, not really says it herself, but like Ares, in the movie, like she goes through her it's kind of hard to describe. Like she goes uh through her like her user files, and he's like, I don't think you should quit, because she wanted to quit after she reshaped the human condition. And, well, yeah, and then at the end of the movie, she realizes that the world needs her more than she knows, you know. And at the end of the movie, like the world is pretty much at peace for now, for now. But in the Tron world, and yeah, I think Ares were like, oh, he's stale. Well, he's supposed to be stale. Why would Julian Dillinger ever want him to have emotions? I think either way, Ares was gonna get emotions, like like the way that happened in the movie, or even if he got the permanent skill off of Eve Kim and de-resed her. Even if that did happen, Ares would have emotions afterwards, and every single program in the Dillinger grid, would probably go rogue on Dillinger. So either way, Dillinger shot himself in the foot, But yeah. Anyway, the characters were great. The story was simple, as it always is. You know, the characters were pretty fucking good. The soundtrack was amazing. 10 out of 10 for me. Not a perfect 10 out of 10, but pretty good. A pretty good 10 out of 10. And now this part of the video is, uh, it's gonna be about how generally how people talk about the Tron franchise, but it's mostly how people talk about Tron Ares overall in online and in public circles. But also and then after that I'm gonna talk about what I want to see in the future of Tron. So yeah, so I feel like the consensus of Tron is like, oh, the original, it's a classic. Legacy is a masterpiece, and Ares, it's fine if you didn't like it, but don't be a dumb homunculi about it. And how when I say that is when people are like, ah, oh, this movie's worse than Madam Web. It's just as bad as Morbius. If you really think that, you're an actual homunculi. I feel like you're an illiterate homunculi. The CGI was great. Here's the thing, even if you didn't like the story, even if you didn't like the characters, you can't ignore that the CGI, the music, and the action were great. If you truly, in your heart of hearts, and if you truly believe in your heart that this movie was as bad or worse than Madam Web, because there were actually people saying that, you're an actual homunculi. You're an illiterate homunculi. I'm sorry, but you are. You truly just are. But anyway, now sorry for that little rant. Now it's like now I'm gonna talk about what I want to see in the future of the franchise. Personally, what I want to see is the continuation of Legacy and Ares. I want to see Sam. I want to see Sam, Cora, Ares, Tron, Alan Bradley, Julian Dillinger, Edward Dillinger Jr., and Eve Kim return in the next Tron movie. Hopefully, what I'm hoping is that we're gonna get a new Tron movie not between, like probably the next 4 to 5 years. That's like I think at the absolute worst, like 7 to 6 years, and at the absolute best, 5 to 4 years, we're gonna get a new Tron movie. I don't think we're gonna have to wait as long as we did for Ares. I would die if we have to wait longer. I would truly die. I would just evaporate. I would just evaporate out of existence if that would happen. But anyway, yeah, I just want to see, and also I just want to see Sam and Cora again. I was a little bit disappointed that they weren't in the movie, but at least they weren't totally ignored. Thank goodness. But yeah, and also something's telling me. You know how in the article they said the Tron franchise is going on on a break, or they're retiring it for a while. They notice how they didn't say they canceled it. For me, I have a feeling. This is just a feeling. This is just me hoping, but also theorizing at the same time that, why wouldn't Disney just cancel it? Why wouldn't they just cancel the entire series? Since you know how Disney is. Disney's fucking terrible. They would execute a franchise out of nowhere for no reason. But why would they say retire? Retiring it for a while. I have a feeling after Joseph Kaczynski makes his Miami Vice movie, I have a feeling that he's gonna come back to Tron. I don't know. Call me crazy, but after Miami Vice, I think he's gonna direct another Tron movie, and then after that, he's gonna direct another F1 movie. That's how I feel like Joseph Kaczynski's career is gonna go in the future. But yeah, thank you for watching this video. Sorry for going on a rant for Tron Ares and people who didn't like it, but you know I have a feeling. You know, back when I was a kid, I'm sorry for this is gonna be a back when I was a kid. You know, I and people who didn't like Tron or who never watched it, I was like, you know what? In a few years, you're gonna love it. In a few years, you're gonna love it. And you know what? History proved me. Since back in 2020, they liked it. They're like, oh man, why didn't this masterpiece get a sequel? You know, I have a feeling that's gonna happen again to Ares. I'm and also crazy prediction. I'm gonna predict it. Either this year or in the next 4 years, people are gonna look back at Ares and say, "Damn, this movie was good. Why didn't anybody go watch it?" I don't know. Maybe because you were a homunculi. Anyway, but anyway, yeah. Thank you for watching this video. Sorry that this video came late, like really late, like pretty much at the end of the month. But yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do for the rest of the year with YouTube. Who knows? So yeah, maybe I just might leave might just leave it like that with two, well not two. These well hopefully like 6, hopefully not 7 years. And no, it's not that stupid joke that you see on TikTok. I swear, do not do that, man. I hate that joke. It's not even a joke, it's just dumb. And anyway, yeah, I don't know what else to do for the for February or the rest of the year for videos. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video and just hearing me ramble, about Tron, how I love Tron, in my personal life, well, and my, my exposure to Tron in my life. But yeah, thank you. Anyway, I wonder what are your thoughts on Tron, and also don't be mean in the comments section. It's fine to have your opinion, but don't be an asshole about it. But anyway, yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day.